like to ask you a few questions. Do you like watching YouTube videos? Are you an ESL student? Do you have any hobbies? What are your hobbies? Are you have any pets? Oh, is that okay? Are you have any pets? Does that sound right to you? I don't think it does. Because actually, I should be asking, do you have any pets? Instead of, are you have any pets? So what's the difference? Some of my questions I've been using are, and others I've been using do. What's the difference between are and do? When should I be using do in a question? And where should I be using are? And why is there a difference? Welcome to my brand new channel, Miriam's English Tips, and I'm Miriam. And here I'm going to be uploading many lessons and tips on the English language. So if you're learning the language from scratch as a beginner, or if you're already quite a fluent speaker of English, or you're somewhere in the middle, this channel could be useful to you because you'll be learning various things related to acquiring the language. So there'll be a little bit of grammar, sometimes it'll be a little lesson on vocabulary or language use, business English, expressions that we commonly use, perhaps some writing tips or academic English tips as well. So this is a channel, it's brand new. I've been teaching English for a good many years, I'll say 30 years or more, and I've basically followed the developments of this profession from teaching. Actually, I started teaching using a blackboard, and now I'm on YouTube, which is a new project for me, a happy project. So I'll be uploading material every week, and if you feel like you'd like to have a few tips or just see what I'm talking about that particular week, please do visit the channel. So to return to the question of the day, when is it appropriate to use do or does when I'm asking questions in the simple present tense? Or when is it better to ask a question using are or am or is? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. And we're going to start by talking about do. So do is the helping or auxiliary verb that we use in the simple present tense. And it's used typically to ask questions and also in the negative form. So an example is, let's say I'm using a sentence like, I play sport. So that's the affirmative sentence. And the verb I play sport is play. So here, to make a question, I'll be asking, do you play sport? So I'm integrating do with play. Do you play sport? Because I have play and play is a verb, I have to use do in my question. Another example could be, do they live in that house? So again, I have a question using the verb live. So I'm using the auxiliary verb do so that I can combine it with live. Do they live in that house? We also have does. And does is the same as do. It's just that we use does when the subject is the third person singular. So she, he, it, or it could be a person's name, John, Mary. It could be a thing, the house, the cat. Although usually when it's a pet, you'll ascribe she or he to them. So it's a third person singular. So basically when you're conjugating with a helping verb, you will say do I, do you, does she, does he, does Janice, does the cat, does the table. And then in the plural it's do we, do you, plural you, and do they. So, for example, does it snow in winter? It is a third person singular, so does it snow in winter? Does the house look old? Does the cat eat every morning? So that's just the difference between do and does. So do is for all subjects except for third person singular does. And we use that when we are combining it with a verb. Now, what about are or am or is? So that is the verb to be. And it works differently in the simple present. So I'm using the verb to be, for example, are, when I'm combining it and my question is about a noun or an adjective or a prepositional phrase. In the simple present, I will never use it with a verb. So for example, if I ask you, are you a student? Student is a noun. And so I'm using are to combine it with student. Are is the main verb, it's the verb to be. So are you a student? It's a noun. Are you a manager? That's another noun. Are you the boss? The boss is the noun. Now, we have am and is as well, and this depends on the subject. So it's conjugated according to the subject. So on a very basic level, when you have the verb to be, you'll have I am, you are. He, she, it, third person singular, is. In the plural, it's all the same. It's are. So we are in the plural, you are plural, they are plural. So that's the verb to be. We use the verb to be when we're asking about a noun, an adjective, or a prepositional phrase. So to continue with the examples, if I want to use the third person singular, I can say, is she tall? Tall is an adjective that describes a person's height. So, is she tall? Is she happy? Happy is another adjective. It describes how a person feels. Is the wall dirty? So dirty is an adjective. It's not clean, it's dirty. Is the wall dirty? Some examples with am. So am, you're asking about myself or I. So for example, I can say, am I too early? Early is an adjective. Let's get some examples with prepositional phrases. So, am I in the right place? In the right place. There's your prepositional phrase because your preposition is in and it comes with the words the right place. So, am I in the right place? Is she on the bus? Another one. Is the car on the street? Is the car in the parking spot or the parking lot? So there you have a few prepositional phrases. So to recap, you will use do or does when you are combining it with a verb, an action verb or a verb that describes a state. So, does the sun rise, the verb rise, from the east? Does it set in the west? Set when the sun comes down. There's your verb. Do. Do you play hockey? So again, it goes with a verb, play. Whereas the verb to be, am, is, are, is used when you asking about a noun. So, are you a doctor? It's used to ask about an adjective. Is the house old? And it's used to ask about a prepositional phrase. Are we in the classroom? Prepositional phrase. So there you have the difference between do, does, and am, are, is. Let's practice a little bit. I'm going to give you 8 sentences with a blank, and the blank is what you need to fill in yourself using either do, does, am, is, or are. So when it's a blank, I'll just go, that's your blank. So number 1, where, the school. What will you put? Where, the school. The school is a noun. The answer is, where is the school? The second one, I in the right place. I in the right place. Prepositional phrase. The answer, am I in the right place? Number 3, she a dentist. A dentist fixes your teeth. It's a noun. She a dentist. Is she a dentist? Verb to be. Next question. She work at the bank. Work. That's a verb. She work at the bank. What will you say here? Does she work at the bank? Next. When the restaurant close? The answer here, when does the restaurant close? Because close is a verb. Next. You cold? You cold? Are you cold? There's your answer. Next one. I too early for the lesson? I too early for the lesson? The answer is, am I too early for the lesson? And the final question, circling back to the beginning of this video. You have any pets? Do you have any pets? There's your answer. Do you have any pets? How many of those did you get right? Are you finding it easier now to distinguish between do, does, or the verb to be? Let me know in the comments below. Tell me how many you got right. Let me know if this video has been useful and is making it easier for you to make the difference between the verb to be or do or does. If you liked this video and found it useful, please do give it a like. And if you would like to get more videos, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the notification button so you'll be notified when any new material comes up. I've also got a PDF file that I'm making available if you would like to do a little extra practice. It does have an answer key at the end. You just have to look in the description box below and just click on the link that's there. In the meantime, I wish you a nice day, and I hope to see you again next week.